So I just want to say God bless America, because we have to say God bless. We're lucky we're still here, frankly. And this whole thing could lead, I think we have it, but this could lead to World War III very easily. Could very easily lead to World War III, but I think we're in pretty good shape, a lot better than we were before we got involved. That I can tell you. That was heading into World War III territory, and that would have been a war like no other because of nuclear weapons and other types of weapons that people you don't even want to know about.
But so Russia could be given the Donbass in addition to hanging on to Crimea, even though they invaded Ukraine. Quickly, if you can, please.
Martha, we have to ask ourselves, is it in our national interest? Is it realistic? We've talked to the Europeans about this and the Ukrainians. Are we going to drive every Russian off of every inch of Ukrainian soil, including Crimea? And what the strategy of the Biden administration was as long as it takes, as much as it takes, no matter what the timeline is, which is essentially endless warfare, in an environment that we're literally losing hundreds of thousands of people in a matter of months and could escalate into World War III. So we can talk about what's right and wrong, and we also have to talk about the reality of the situation on the ground. And that's what we are doing through diplomacy, through shuttle diplomacy, through proximity talks. And it astounds me how that is criticized.
Boy, oh boy, it's hard to keep up, isn't it? I tell you, you can't even take a sleep break for a minute without missing something. And the thing about President Trump's comments on World War III is those are words and themes that he has been throwing around since the campaign trail. And he likes to present himself as being the leader who will be able to avert a World War III. So it's a theme that he comes back to. And I think right now, in the case of Ukraine and Russia, Adam, as you said earlier, America has to be involved in that process. And I think it's very impressive what your prime minister is doing as we speak right now and having the virtual meeting with other leaders. But ultimately, America is going to have to come to the table. I don't think Putin is going to come to the table unless President Trump is sitting at that table as well.
He's already taken off Ukraine joining NATO off the table. Mm-hmm. So Ukraine is left asking this question, how are we going to know we're going to have proper security?
Yeah, but he was also very clear, Pete Hegseth in Brussels, but also the president himself, that when there is a deal on Ukraine, it has to be lasting. It has to be durable. Putin should not have to try this again. So the question is then the how. How do you do this post a peace deal? Then I would side with the president. You first need to have a peace deal before you can get into these details. Obviously, behind the screens, there will be discussions on the what if there is a peace deal, how then to maintain that. But there are many ways to do that.
This is an important story, not just for your country, but for the entire world. And I guess I would simply begin by asking, do you share President Trump's optimism that a ceasefire may eventually happen?
We're, first of all, thankful to American people and American leadership for their security assistance, for the diplomatic efforts they're doing, and we support it. So now the ball is on Russian side, and we are continuing to conduct our planned operations, defensive operations.
Do you believe that Russia wants peace? And I guess the second part of that question.
I think it's going well. I think it's a tough situation that we're in. I inherited a mess from him in so many ways, whether it's the wall or the economy or anything you want to talk about. It's tough. This was a very tough one. Ukraine, Russia should have never happened. It would have never happened, but it did. And we have to see what we can do to save a lot of lives and to stop paying billions and billions of dollars also. It's a massive amounts of money. $350 billion we've spent on that. And we're going to try and do something about that. But more importantly, right now, you have a lot of people dying. You're losing probably 2,000 people a week in shooting soldiers, Russian and Ukrainian. And whatever we can do to stop it, we're trying to do that.
Are you speaking to Putin in the last days or hours personally?
Well, I don't want to say it, but we are dealing with him, and I think it's going reasonably well. It's a very complex situation. You know, it's a bloody, terrible war, and I do think it's going well. As you know, we have a ceasefire agreement with the Ukrainian group, and we are trying to get that with Russia too. And I think thus far it's gone okay. We'll know a little bit more on Monday, and that'll be hopefully good.
I'm not understating the complexity of all this, but as a candidate, you said you would have this war settled in 24 hours.
Well, I was being a little bit sarcastic when I said that. I would. What I really mean is I'd like to get it settled, and I think I'll be successful.
What's the plan if Putin doesn't agree to a ceasefire?
Bad news for this world because so many people are dying. But I think he's going to agree. I really do. I think I know him pretty well, and I think he's going to agree.
That's a really interesting point, Nelson, isn't it? Because it seems that President Trump is in this unique position where he's having conversations with Putin, which he described as good and productive, but he's also been around the table with Sir Keir Starmer, with Emmanuel Macron, with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. He's the one who seems to be getting everyone around the tables for these conversations. How much power do you think that gives the US in terms of the global political scale?
It is quite remarkable, Sophie, the way world leaders are coming to kissing the ring would be an exaggeration to use that analogy. But it is remarkable to see the way world leaders are paying respect to Donald Trump in ways that sort of surprise everyone and certainly irritate his American opponents. It is remarkable to see. And Trump is a guy who likes to win. There is nothing new about that. From the very beginning of his adult life and early career, he's admittedly a man who likes winning. And he uses that, even he uses the phrase about winning in all of his rhetoric. America will be so tired of winning because we're going to have so many wins. And I think that plays right into the chess games of world peace as well. And he would consider it a win, just like any other victory. Keeping peace, hopefully through strength and not military action, will be his legacy. That's what he's counting on, I believe.